Back in the States, actor Yul Brynner died early this morning of cancer at the age of 65. Brian Doble reports.
Yul Brynner, the legendary actor best known for his iconic role in The King and I
cannot stand all the time, and in this country no one's head shall be higher than king's.
Captivated audiences for decades with his commanding presence. But behind the spotlight, Brynner's life was marked by personal battles and deep loss. His long fight with illness led to a tragic end, yet it wasn't just Yul who faced a heartbreaking fate. His wife's death also shocked those who knew their story. How did these two lives, seemingly full of success and fame, end in such deep sorrow? What events led to this tragic ending? In this video, we delve into the emotional journey of Yul Brynner and his wife, uncovering the mystery behind their untimely deaths. Want to know about it? Let's uncover their story. Before we dive into the details of Yul Brynner's life and tragic end, let's take a moment to appreciate his incredible family history. Yul Brynner's family legacy. It all starts in Vladivostok, where Yul's legacy began. His eldest son, Rock Brynner, shares an amazing story about their great-grandfather, Julius Brynner. Julius was one of the first foreign businessmen to set foot in Vladivostok when the Russian naval base was newly established. He came from Switzerland, where he had owned a shipping company in Yokohama, Japan. In the year 1873, he decided to move his business to Vladivostok. Once he arrived, Julius teamed up with other international investors to bring European architects to the area. Together, they transformed the small naval base into a modern city with a distinct European flair that still exists today. Julius became quite successful, founding a large mining company near the city. He also imported materials from Switzerland to build a narrow-gauge railway that would transport ore from the mines to the bustling port. Julius's personal life was just as fascinating. He married a Russian noblewoman, and together they had 6 children. These children were educated in Moscow and St. Petersburg, becoming part of the Russian intelligentsia. One of them, Boris Brynner, eventually took over the mining business, continuing the family legacy. Yul Brynner was born in the year 1920. However, life took a turn when the Bolsheviks seized control of Vladivostok in the early 1920s and nationalized the Brynner's mines. Surprisingly, the new leaders struggled to manage these mines without the expertise of the previous owners. During a lecture tour in Vladivostok, Rock discovered something incredible. His grandfather, Boris, had negotiated with Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin over control of the mines. This negotiation set an important precedent in international law that legal scholars still study today. In the year 1928, amidst rising anti-bourgeois sentiment, the Brynner family fled to China. Boris briefly managed the mines from Harbin, but the family soon joined a large community of Russian émigrés in Paris. In Paris, Yul lived a rebellious life, even playing guitar with a gypsy orchestra. It was here that he met Michael Chekhov, an émigré actor who Yul described as his only mentor. Following Chekhov, Yul moved to the United States, where he began his successful film career. Eventually, he made his way to Switzerland. Despite his fame, Yul was never allowed to visit Vladivostok again, and only one of his films, The Magnificent Seven, was shown in the Soviet Union. Even so, Yul always felt that his family had not been forgotten in Vladivostok. But how did Yul's journey from a rebellious childhood lead to his rise to stardom? And what were the final moments of his life like? Stay tuned to find out. The childhood of Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner was born on July 11, 1920, in the bustling city of Vladivostok, Russia. His full name was Yuli Borisovich Brynner, and he came from a unique blend of backgrounds. His father, Boris Yulyevich Brynner, was a mining engineer of Swiss descent, while his mother, Marusha Dmitrievna, was Russian. This mix gave Yul a rich heritage, including Swiss, German, and even a touch of Buryat Mongolian ancestry through his paternal grandmother, Natalia Yosifovskaya. Yul was named after his grandfather, Julius Brynner. Throughout his life, Yul kept his origins somewhat of a mystery. He often joked about his true lineage, claiming at one point to be a half-Swiss, half-Japanese man named Taiji Khan, born on the island of Sakhalin. He cherished his privacy and famously said, "People don't know my real self and they're not going to find out." He even lightly mentioned his Mongolian roots, saying, "I'm just a good little Mongol boy, clean and neat." But behind his playful demeanor lay a complex man who had been shaped by a challenging past. His friend Jetta Lee Thompson revealed that Yul rarely spoke about his childhood or his family. She noted, "We knew that somewhere there was something that had hurt him in the past. Here was this man who was the king, who dominated everyone he came into contact with, and yet sometimes I would see him sitting with tears in his eyes, deeply thinking about something." This insight hinted at deeper emotional scars that Yul managed to keep hidden. Much of what we know about Yul's early life comes from biographies written by his son, Yul Brynner. In his books, Yul, the Man Who Would Be King and Empire and Odyssey, Yul reveals some significant events. For instance, when Yul was just 3 years old, his father had an affair with a woman named Katya Kurnikova. This betrayal likely played a role in Yul's tendency to keep his emotions private. After this upheaval, Marusha took Yul and his sister Vera to Harbin, China, where they attended a YMCA school. In the early 1930s, with tensions rising between Japan and China, Marusha decided to move the family to Paris, France, seeking safety from the impending conflict. Yul enrolled in the prestigious Lycée Monceau but found little interest in academics. Instead, he was drawn to the vibrant world of performing arts. He eventually dropped out of school and joined the famous Cirque d'Hiver as a trapeze artist. It was during this time that Yul developed a deep love for folk songs and gypsy culture. His agent, Guy Melvin, shared insights in the documentary Yul Brynner, The Man Who Would Be King. He noted, his gypsy origin, of which he was very proud, gave him an incredible sense of belonging wherever he was. When he was in America, he was American. When he was in France, he was French. However, Yul's trapeze career came to an unexpected halt when he suffered a back injury. Following this setback, he turned to music, playing guitar and performing gypsy songs in various Russian nightclubs in Paris. In 1938, tragedy struck again when Marusha was diagnosed with leukemia. The family briefly returned to Harbin, China during this difficult time. Yul Brynner's early life was filled with constant movement and significant change. His diverse heritage and the political turbulence of his era influenced him greatly. Yet, despite the hardships he faced, these experiences helped shape the resilient and multifaceted man he would eventually become, a celebrated actor and a beloved figure in the entertainment world. Rise to stardom. Yul Brynner's adventure in America began when he and his mother emigrated to the United States. They arrived in New York City on October 25th in 1940. His sister Vera welcomed them. She had moved there earlier and was already making a name for herself as a singer on Broadway. During World War II, Yul found a unique job. He became a French-language radio announcer for the United States Office of War Information, broadcasting to German-occupied France. While doing this, he was also learning the craft of acting from the talented Russian-American actor Michael Chekhov. In December 1941, Yul made his Broadway debut as Fabian in Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. After this, he appeared in the television series Mr. Jones and His Neighbors and the Broadway play Lute Song, where he shared the stage with the famous Mary Martin. Though Lute Song didn't bring him huge fame, his friendship with Mary would play a big role in his future. In 1944, Yul married his first wife, actress Virginia Gilmore. Around this time, he also began working as a film and television director at CBS. His first directing gig was a children's puppet show called Life with Snarky Parker, which aired for 8 months before it was canceled. But that didn't hold him back. Yul found success directing shows like Studio One in Hollywood, Danger, and Omnibus. In 1950, Mary Martin suggested Yul audition for a role that would change everything. It was for the part of the King of Siam in the new Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The King and I. At first, Yul wasn't eager to return to the stage, but the character intrigued him. So he decided to join the original Broadway production in 1951. To truly become the character, he shaved his head, creating a look that would become iconic. Yul's portrayal of King Mongkut was nothing short of sensational. He earned 2 Tony Awards for his performance and played the role an astounding 4,625 times throughout his career. His performance in the 1956 film adaptation of The King and I even won him the Academy Award for Best Actor. The same year was remarkable for Yul. He starred in 2 other massive hits. In The Ten Commandments, he played Ramesses II, and in Anastasia, he portrayed General Bu Nine. The Ten Commandments became one of the most commercially successful films ever made. With these roles, Yul Brynner rose to worldwide fame and secured his place as one of Hollywood's leading actors. On February 8, 1960, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a testament to his success. He spent hours discussing great photographers like Kertész and Cartier-Bresson, and Yul always offered helpful feedback on her work. After his passing, Victoria discovered boxes of his well-organized photographs. She was touched to find a treasure trove documenting the making of the Ten Commandments, filled with color slides and notes about different filming stages. Many of his photos featured actors, directors, and crew members, all marked with "Photograph by Yul Brynner." Sorting through these images, Victoria realized that her father was much more than a famous actor. He was also an incredibly talented photographer. Yul found directing to be especially fulfilling because it allowed him to express his creativity. However, after the success of The King and I, he struggled to return to directing. Instead, he turned to photography, using his camera as a kind of diary to document his life and the people around him. His sensitive and beautiful portraits captured not just faces, but also the essence of the subjects. Although he never published his photography, Victoria compiled his work into a book titled Yul Brynner, Photographer. This book showcases his unique vision and reminds readers of his compassionate and observant nature. She felt that Yul had given her not only his artistic eye, but also his vision of the world. In addition to photography, Yul was also an accomplished author. His first book, Bring Forth the Children, A Journey to the Forgotten People of Europe and the Middle East, published in 1960, reflects his dedication to humanitarian work. In it, he offers a heartfelt look at the lives of refugees and the struggles they faced, highlighting his commitment to shining a light on their stories. His second book, The Yul Brynner Cookbook, Food Fit for the King and You, released in 1983, provides a delightful peek into his culinary interests. This cookbook features recipes he loved to cook, showcasing not only his passion for good food but also his skills in the kitchen. Yul was also a talented guitarist. Throughout his life, he enjoyed playing music, often incorporating it into his performances and personal moments. His musical ability added yet another layer to his artistic journey, proving just how versatile and creative he truly was. But there were more aspects of Yul Brynner's life that revealed his deep commitment. Yul Brynner's philanthropy and net worth. Yul Brynner was dedicated to supporting refugee causes. His initial interest in collecting UN refugee stamps sparked a deeper commitment, eventually leading him to serve as a special consultant on refugees for the UNHCR. Brynner used his fame to highlight the struggles of refugees in Asia and the Middle East, taking his role very seriously. He faced significant risks, with local military patrols in refugee camps, but his gypsy heritage was often credited by friends for his fearless attitude. Brynner also produced 2 documentaries to bring more attention to refugee issues. At the time of his death in 1985, he had a net worth of $10 million, which is equivalent to around $30 million today after adjusting for inflation. Brynner is best remembered for his iconic role as the King of Siam in the Broadway musical The King and I in 1951 and its film adaptation in 1956. His performance in these roles earned him 2 Tony Awards and an Academy Award. Impressively, he played the role over 4,600 times on stage. Throughout his career, Yul Brynner accumulated more than 40 acting credits. Yul Brynner's marriages. Virginia Gilmore, originally named Sherman Virginia Poole, was born in El Monte, California. and had a notable acting career spanning over 30 years. She started on stage in San Francisco before moving to Hollywood in 1939. Despite initial challenges, her determination led her to confront producer Samuel Goldwyn, earning her a screen test. Her early Hollywood roles included films like Winter Carnival, Tall, Dark and Handsome, The Loves of Edgar Allan Poe, and The Pride of the Yankees. However, her standout performances came in 1941 with Western Union alongside Randolph Scott and Swampwater, directed by Jean Renoir and co-starring Walter Huston and Walter Brennan. Returning to New York, Gilmore found success in theater with roles in Those Endearing Young Charms in 1943 and Dear Ruth in 1944. She also taught drama at Yale University from 1966 to 1968. Gilmore's legacy includes her contributions to theater and film and the significant impact she had on her students and colleagues. The love story between Yul Brynner and Virginia Gilmore is a captivating tale from Hollywood history, blending romance, professional collaboration, and personal challenges. Virginia was already a Hollywood star in 1942 when she met Yul Brynner, who had only arrived in America a few months earlier. At the time, Brynner spoke very little English and worked various jobs such as waiting tables, parking cars, and singing gypsy songs in clubs to support himself. The couple married on September 6, 1944, marking the union of two vibrant personalities from the entertainment industry. Together, Brynner and Gilmore had a son, Yul Rock Brynner II. Their relationship, however, was not without its difficulties. The demands of Hollywood and the theater world frequently kept him on the move, adding strain to their marriage. Meanwhile, Gilmore's career began to take a different path. She gradually stepped away from acting to focus more on her family. Despite these challenges, Brynner and Gilmore remained devoted to each other for many years. They supported each other's careers and managed the ups and downs of life in the public eye. Their relationship weathered the highs and lows of fame, the stress of long separations, and the difficulty of balancing personal and professional goals. After 16 years of marriage, the couple separated in 1960, and their divorce was finalized in 1967. Although their formal association ended, they maintained mutual respect and shared a bond through their son. Virginia Gilmore continued to work intermittently in the entertainment industry, making appearances on television and in theatrical productions. She also pursued personal growth and interests outside of acting. She was known for her successful career in both theater and film. After his first marriage to actress Virginia Gilmore, Yul Brynner went through 3 more marriages that showcased both his personal and public life. His second marriage was to Doris Kleiner, a Chilean socialite, from 1960 to 1967. Together, they had a daughter, Victoria Brynner. Victoria went on to become a successful businesswoman, founding Stardust Visions and Stardust Celebrities, a well-known photographic production company in Los Angeles. In 1971, Brynner married Jacqueline de Coisset, a French socialite and philanthropist, marking his third marriage. This union lasted until 1981 and included the adoption of 2 children, Mia and Melody Brynner. The girls grew up in a home influenced by their father's Hollywood fame and their mother's French cultural background, blending French sophistication with Hollywood glamour. Later in his life, Brynner married Kathy Lee in 1983. Unfortunately, their time together was cut short due to Brynner's battle with lung cancer, and he passed away in 1985. Despite their brief marriage, Kathy Lee remained a steadfast companion, supporting him through his illness until the end. Brynner had a unique perspective on women, once saying, "Girls have an unfair advantage over men. If they can't get what they want by being smart, they can get it by being dumb." He also fathered a daughter, Lark Brynner, with German actress Frances Martin, and was the godfather to French actress Charlotte Gainsbourg. Victoria Brynner, one of his daughters, has built a successful career in her own right. In 1992, she established Stardust Visions and Stardust Celebrities, a photographic production company in Los Angeles. Audrey Hepburn, the legendary actress, was her godmother, adding to the notable connections in her life. So, What were the circumstances that led to Yul Brynner's tragic ending and that of his wives? Stay with us to find out. The tragic death of Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner's life took a heartbreaking turn due to a long-term smoking habit that started when he was only 12. After decades of smoking, he finally quit in 1971. But in 1983, everything changed. Just hours before his 4,000th performance in The King and I, Yul discovered a lump in his throat and rushed to see a doctor. The diagnosis was devastating. Although his throat was clear, he had inoperable lung cancer and only 3 months to live. Faced with this life-altering news, Yul took time off to undergo treatment, but the effects of the therapy made it difficult for him to sing and speak during some shows. In a touching moment, his son, Yul Brynner, stepped in to help, sometimes dubbing Yul's voice from the director's side. During one intermission, Yul embraced his son and shared a poignant thought. "Now you must play the king as an older Rock. I am older. You are playing him as if you were 30. You are now and I was then, but now it is an older king." Despite his illness, Yul was determined to keep performing. He resumed the tour of The King and I, pouring his heart into every show. Remarkably, he managed to continue for 2 more years after his diagnosis. His last performance as King Mongkut took place on June 30, 1985, marking a remarkable end to his illustrious career. Acting provided Yul with a sense of purpose and a way to cope with the harsh reality of his illness. During this time, he also made a brave appearance on Good Morning America, where he candidly spoke about the dangers of smoking, hoping to warn others about the risks he faced. Tragically, Yul Brynner succumbed to lung cancer on October 10, 1985. After his passing, he was cremated and his ashes were laid to rest at the Abbey of Saint-Michel-de-Bois-Aubry in France. Shortly after his death, a powerful public service announcement against smoking, which he had recorded before he passed, aired across major television networks in the United States and beyond. In that heartfelt message, he urged viewers, "Now that I'm gone, I tell you, don't smoke. Whatever you do, just don't smoke. If I could take back all that smoking, we wouldn't be talking about cancer. I'm convinced of that." His final words left a lasting impact, reminding everyone of the dangers he had faced in his own life. Yul Brynner's remembrance by his daughter Victoria. Victoria Brynner was 22 years old when her father, Yul Brynner, passed away in 1985. His death was the first major tragedy in her life. He had always been her protector and hero, and to her, heroes didn't die. At that time, no material object he could have left her would have eased the pain of his loss. Over the years, as she thought about him, she began to reevaluate their relationship and his legacy to her. The more she reflected, the more she realized that at the core of his personality was a strong visual sense. This sense found expression in her professional life, initially as a photographer, then as an editor, and eventually as a photographic producer. The development of this emotional and creative language was gradual, and she now understands that her most powerful childhood memories were largely shaped by her father's photography. Her father shared his interest in photography with her mother and their close friends, photographers Ernst Haas, Inga Morath, and John Bryson, who were frequent visitors to their home and his film sets. Over the years, her mother created a series of beautiful photo albums filled with his work. As a child, one of Victoria's favorite activities was to take those large black albums out of the closet and look through them repeatedly. In many ways, she received an education through these visual memories. So, were his wives spared from the tragedy? What were their own stories? Let's find out. Tragic death of Brynner's wives. Yul Brynner's story took a sorrowful turn after his passing. Just a few months later, on March 28, 1986, his first wife, Gilmore, passed away at her home in Santa Barbara, California. She had been battling chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, also known as COPD. Gilmore was 66 years old when she died. After her death, she was cremated by the Neptune Society, and her ashes were scattered at sea, a final farewell that felt fitting for her life. Then, on May 6, 1992, Yul's second wife, Dietrich, also left this world. She died of kidney failure at her apartment in Paris at the age of 90. Her funeral was a grand affair, taking place on May 14th at the Roman Catholic Church of La Madeleine in Paris. About 1,500 people gathered to honor her life, including ambassadors from various countries. The streets outside were filled with even more mourners who wanted to pay their respects. During the service, her closed coffin, draped in the French flag, was placed under the altar. It was adorned with a simple bouquet of white wildflowers and roses from French President François Mitterrand. Among the tributes were 3 medals, including France's prestigious Légion d'honneur and the U.S. Medal of Freedom, showcasing her incredible achievements. The priest who spoke at the service described Dietrich as a devoted artist and a brave fighter against Nazism, emphasizing that she lived her life like a soldier and would like to be remembered as such. Coincidentally, that year her picture was featured on the Cannes Film Festival poster, which was displayed all over Paris, serving as a poignant reminder of her legacy. Yul Brynner's enduring legacy. On September 28, 2012, a statue of Yul Brynner was unveiled in Vladivostok, Russia. This statue stands 2.4 meters tall and is located in Yul Brynner Park, right in front of the house where he was born. A local sculptor named Alexei Boki created the statue from a huge piece of granite that came all the way from China. It shows Brynner in his famous role as King Mongkut of Siam from The King and I. The city of Vladivostok donated the parkland and paid for the statue project. The unveiling ceremony was a big event. It was attended by the mayor of Vladivostok, Igor Pushkaryov, U.S. Consul General Sylvia Curran, and Brynner's son, Rock. Many local residents came out to celebrate as well. Besides the park, there is also a Yul Brynner Museum in the family cottage located in suburban Vladivostok. In the United States, Yul Brynner left his mark at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood, California. He made his hand and footprints there in 1956. 4 years later, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, located at 6162 Hollywood Boulevard. Recently, in 2022, a podcast titled Here's Looking at Yul Kid was launched to honor his films. The podcast features notable guests like Ron Howard. Brynner spent many years living, studying, and working in France. In his will, he expressed a wish to be buried there. He was laid to rest at the Abbaye Royale Saint-Michel de Bois-Aubry, where you can find a memorial dedicated to him. Yul Brynner made sure that his son would carry on the family legacy. He famously said, "In our family, Yul is not just a name, it is a title." He gave his son the nickname Rock, inspired by the boxer Rocky Graziano, hoping to instill strength in him for his life in New York. In the early 1970s, Rock invested in the Hard Rock Cafe and managed the Manhattan location when it expanded in 1984. After a year, he started an airplane rental service with his father near Danbury, Connecticut. By the mid-1980s, he returned to his studies, writing a biography of his father called Yul, the man who would be king in 1989, and finished his doctorate at Columbia University. Sadly, Rock Brynner passed away at 76 due to complications related to multiple myeloma. He is survived by his sisters, Victoria, Mia, Melody, and Lark. His journey, filled with challenges and achievements, continues to honor the legacy of his father, Yul Brynner. Do you think Yul Brynner's legacy truly lives on? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, fam. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Don't leave without checking out the next interesting video that pops up on your screen.